Okay. Master Duel Forbidden Limited list. Just right now. Cards to be forbidden. Silva? Warlord of Dark World? Wait, I haven't seen Silva in a long time. I don't even remember what it does. He looks really cool. He's a level 5. Let's take a look what Silva is. It is a Dark World card. Very interesting. I'm not too sure why. Let's read it. Let's see if we could divine the reasoning of Konami's actions here. By the way, we've had like, I think someone pointed out in chat, we had like 3 ban lists in the span of 45 days. This has to be in response to something, right? It has to be like an emergency ban list almost, right? But let's see. Silva, Warlord of Dark World. Dark, level 5, Fiend, effect. If this card is discarded to the graveyard by a card effect, special summon it from the graveyard. Then, if this card was discarded from your hand to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, your opponent returns exactly 2 cards from their hand to the bottom of their deck in any order. Okay. That is interesting. Let's think about that. Discarding to the graveyard by a card effect. Let's take a look. Ceruli Dark World. You guys are telling me to look at this up. Let's take a look. Ceruli Guru of Dark World. This is coming out. This came out in 2011, way back when, and now re-released again in 2022. That's interesting. Okay, so it's not a new card, right? But what is it? If this card is discarded to the graveyard by a card effect, special summon this card to your opponent's field in defense position. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Dark World card, your opponent discards 1 card. Damn. Your opponent discards 1 card, and of course it's your choosing. So you could get Ceruli out. You could get Ceruli, or rather, you could resolve Silva's opponent's effect, right? And this is mandatory too. That's evil. That's like one of the like crazier things I've seen in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Because yeah, it's like discard by opponent's card effect. It's like this will never happen, right? Typically. But like this will actually force them to do that. That's interesting. It's kind of like what do you call that? That one card that you special summon to the opponent's field. There's Ito. There's the one that also prevents you from special summoning. There's the gimmick puppet lock, right? It's kind of similar to that, but just very destructive. Ceruli. But like this card isn't new, right? This card came out in 2011, right? So then what's the deal? There is new support that makes Ceruli easy to access. Oh, okay. He requires 1 Grapha and 1 Dark Monster. When your opponent activates a monster effect or a normal spell trap card while you have a card in your hand, okay, you can activate this effect. The activated effect becomes your opponent discards 1 card. Wait, what? Oh, the activated effect is not this effect, but that effect. Oh, okay. I gotcha. So it's not necessarily like destroying their hand, but enabling all your Dark World monsters that are in your hand. Okay, I got you. Yeah. When I read the activated effect, I wasn't thinking about this effect. I was thinking about this. So it's like a negate too? Pretty much. It's kind of even like, if you think about it, it's worse than a negate. It's like, yeah, whatever you were trying to do, let's just stop that. Let's just stop that, and that's just what I want to do now. Like, now you're just letting me play. You're playing for me. You thought you were playing for yourself? Nah, you're playing for me. No, you're playing my card. You're making my deck work. It's a negate that advances your plays. Yeah, that is like next level Yu-Gi-Oh. That's Yu-Gi-Oh power creep. This is Yu-Gi-Oh power creep in a nutshell. This is Yu-Gi-Oh power creep in a nutshell. Negates are usually very oppressive already, and the only goal, the only end like result of what a negate is that you're stopping your opponent from playing. You just stop your opponent from playing, and at least for me, I never really thought of a way you could make a negate do something like implicitly like more than that. Something more toxic. But this is it. This is it. Negate their effect and enable your plays. That is in one fell swoop. In one fell swoop, it's not like, oh, negate their effect, then you can do this. No, it's like, it's one thing. You've replaced their effect with something that enables your play. That is toxic as hell, dude. Oh, your effect now is I discard my Agito, I discard my Kelbeck, I discard my Silva. That's silly. That is nuts. Makes opponent take your hand, and that is why they banned Silva, because Silva takes 2 cards when they discard it with Grapha. Yeah, okay. So like, that's totally why we can understand why Silva is being hit, because taking 2 of their cards away, that is toxic. That is definitely toxic. And also, it'll special summon. It's a free body, and it'll discard 2 cards from their hand. That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. They banned Silva just for that? That's a damn stupid hit in my opinion. I don't think it's a bad hit. Why? This card's pretty toxic. This card is pretty toxic. And now it's just so easy to resolve. You don't discard, you shuffle? Oh my god. Oh, you're right. Oh shit, I misread this. Okay, so very good to point that out. This guy doesn't enable, like, this guy isn't, how would you say it? Enable, like, if you're playing a mirror match, right? It doesn't discard the 2 cards, right? Or if I'm playing tournaments, it's not discarding, it's returning to the deck. So it's worse than discard. It's more toxic than discard. It's just absolutely evil. That's crazy. That's a trash ban then. Do you guys really, what do you mean? You guys want to get hand looped by Silva? I don't understand. Why are we defending Silva? Hold up. I must be missing something. Why are we defending this? This is a free, you guys have to understand, this is a free level 5 body, and you're taking 2 cards away from the opponent's hand. There's no shot this is a bad ban. Have any of you people played against Dark World? I mean, it's safe to say no. It is safe to say no, because Dark World, you have to understand that Dark World is an old deck. It is an old deck. This thing came out in 2011. Yeah, it might not be the best deck, but this stuff, I don't know. I actually don't know. Like, how viable is the deck now with all this support? Because I feel like it's definitely playable. And if it's even remotely playable, I don't want to fight that. I don't want to fight this. No one wants to fight this. Rednu, that's like saying you should ban Exodia because of how great its effect is. The thing is, it's just not easy to resolve it. I don't know. I can't say from a fair standpoint, like, how likely it is you're going to get Silva hand looped. Because I don't know what these new support cards are. I know before these new support cards, Dark World is a trash deck. But I don't know what these are going to enable. Because there are so many archetypes now that enable Dark World, including Danger and Tearlaments. And Tearlaments is a good deck. So I have to think that this could be very possible to pull off. The thing is, Dark World has an engine. It's much easier to resolve Silva than it is to win with Exodia. So I feel like that's a false equivalency. No, that's a huge false equivalency, you know? It's a lot easier to resolve. It would be a lot easier and more consistent to resolve Silva than it would be to resolve Exodia. Very interesting. I feel like, okay, so personally, I do think this effect is pretty toxic and it's consistent enough, right? That it warrants the ban. I don't think I want to fight this whatsoever at all. I feel like Dark World has plenty of other cards to play with and plenty of other win conditions than Silva. So I don't see this as like a bad hit whatsoever. But let me know what you guys think. I am going to upload this, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. We're going to move on. All right. Branded Expulsion. 3-0. Damn. So this is basically stopping the gimmick puppet lock. So if I go over here, right? Branded Expulsion, to put long story short, it lets you summon a monster to your opponent's side of the field. So you give your opponent Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, now they're no longer able to special summon. So it's a pretty toxic, like, lock, I would say. There are other locks that exist in the game, 100%. There's Ito. I don't know why Ito is still a thing. Ib is still a thing. But this is pretty, like, kind of consistent, easy to do. Ito is more toxic. Expulsion was only good for FTK nonsense. Great ban, even if I do play Flua and don't care about Gimmick Lock. You can get rid of the others and play, but this one is lingering. How is it a normal rarity with that effect? Japanese name is... It's because, like, the effect of Gimmick Puppet by itself doesn't do anything, right? This effect of locking your own board doesn't do anything for you. But it's only when a card like Expulsion exists, which special summons Nightmare to the opponent's board, that's when this becomes dumb, right? That's when it becomes a lock. It stops them from special summoning because now it's their monster. And it's their monster, it's their effect, now they can't special summon. So of course this, I mean, like, it seems like, oh, if this card was stop your opponent from special summoning, that would probably be like UR/SR rarity, absolutely, right? But that's not what this card is. This card is just a piece of this combo where this card gives Nightmare to them. Okay, cool. That is, that's nice. I like that. I never liked getting Gimmick Puppet Nightmare locked, so that's good. All right, let's move on. That's it. That's it. Full changes. Cards to be forbidden. These two cards. Most impactful ban list to date. Whoopsie, we forgot something. Yeah, pretty much. Looks like, yeah, they don't like the hand loops, and they don't like Branded Expulsion. They don't like Gimmick Puppet locks, which is good. I mean, it's funny. You would hope that they would be more active and they would do more of these kind of bans, these like forbidden limited list updates. You would hope they would do that, right? But what's funny is they don't. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, why exactly did they do this just now? Why did they forget, right? Maybe some Konami executive played against Gimmick Puppet, played against Branded Despia, and then got Puppet locked, and he was like, that shit, ban. That'd be really funny. That'd be really funny. But yeah, I mean, good, quick hit list. Yeah, I'm happy for that. No Protos hit, happy for that. Protos is not like that crazy consistent though, right? They forgore. Now if only they ban Maxx C. Yeah. But I mean, they'll never ban Maxx C. Master Duel will never ban Maxx C. Because Maxx C, like, if you think about it, I feel like they'll never ban Maxx C. Not necessarily because, oh, they think it's good or whatever, or they think it's good for the game. I feel like they will ban it because it'll probably stop... It probably means more money for them, right? At the end of the day, I was thinking about this when we were talking, like, last stream about making new accounts and farming and making alternate accounts. Maxx C is part of the UR tax that alternate accounts would need to, like, consider. And it is only 3 cards, but you have to think, because Maxx C exists, you have to have 3 Maxx C. You have to have 3 Ash Blossom. You have to have 2 Call by the Grave. You have to have 1 Crossout Designator. And you must have these cards if you're playing a rogue deck. Absolutely need these rogue, like, for these rogue decks, right? Because that's your only defense against those cards. So, like, it's a UR tax for alternate accounts. I feel like that's the only argument. Besides, like, oh, Japanese players love Maxx C, I feel like that's the only kind of legitimate, like, stance I can attribute to Konami, is that it's a alternate account UR tax. People who make alternate accounts are not spending money on their alts. Most people aren't. The most people who are making alt accounts are, like, sweaty people or people who like to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So fucking much, but they're not going to spend money on alternate accounts. They're just going to do it to play pet decks. It makes money in new accounts, must craft Maxx C, Crossout Call by, and Ash, which is 270 UR points. Yeah, exactly. It's UR tax. It's not even true. The literal top JP player heard that Maxx wasn't legal in TCG and was asking where he can sign up. That doesn't... What do you mean? So, if you're saying like, oh, the top Japanese player doesn't like Maxx C, do you think the top Japanese player? Let's think about that for a second. Do you think the opinion of the top Japanese player represents the opinion of the majority of Japanese players? Think about that, right? No, right? Absolutely not. The opinion of one pro player will never represent the opinion of the masses. Absolutely not. Because, first of all, they're a pro player. They're the champion for a reason. They don't really think like the masses do, right? For one thing, right? For another, they play the game at the most competitive level. So their opinions would never represent the majority of the players which play Yu-Gi-Oh! On a casual level. Let's take another example, right? Let's take Joshua Schmidt's take and undying love for Runix. Joshua Schmidt loves Runix. He's a very good Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, right? Professional. I don't like Runix. I think they're trash. I think their idea, their concept is toxic and just totally detrimental to the game as a whole. It's not representative of what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. And a lot of players would agree. Like, Runix are toxic, they hate Runix, right? So, Joshua Schmidt's opinion does not represent the masses as much as that pro top Japanese champion player's opinion does not represent the masses. The best opinion that Konami will listen to is simply money. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. It at least shows the Japanese are not unified in this Japanese like Maxx C. That is true. But the opinions of the many outweigh the few, right? If they ban Maxx C, they would likely have to be more aggressive with bans and limits, and they would restrict design space for balance, right? I don't know if it would restrict design space for balance. I don't think that's the case, but I do think if Maxx C does get banned, they would have to hit other cards. They would have to limit the capabilities of excessively either toxic or they take too much time, or just very strong combo decks. They would have to limit it. But that said, they still exist. But they would be stronger without Maxx C. That is true. They won't ban Maxx C because it keeps combo deck in check because combo deck bring in the most money. No, that's the wrong take. That's the wrong take. We should have like a whole Maxx C discussion video. I feel like that would be pretty nice, even though there's like a million of them. There are decks, there are cards that are kept in check with Maxx C, but they're so few and nobody really plays them, so it's a good idea. Like, no one would miss them if they're gone and if they were hit too. You know what I mean? They're scared to ban it because banning Maxx C changes the entire game, which would then need massive new ban lists and then fear of big change to hit decks. Yeah, that is one argument as far as like the proponent of Maxx C, and I think there is some merit to that. That's like the only legitimate argument, is that you would, if you ban Maxx C, you would have to ban a handful of other cards. But Konami doesn't want to limit those decks, even if Maxx C kind of keeps them in check in a weird way. They don't want to over bloat the ban list, is essentially my understanding, which makes sense from their standpoint, because they would at least like to give players the illusion that these cards are playable, these decks are playable. They want to at least give players that option, that choice to opt in to a bad experience. Because at the end of the day, even if it's a bad experience, it's their experience and they're having fun with it, they enjoy it, they like it, right? But, I mean, majority of people who play this at a semi, like, competitive level would prefer Maxx C being banned. Because it is just another, it's a mini game on top of the game that prevents access to the other game. What would you have to ban if Maxx C is not legal, then it's legal now? I always hear this, but I never hear specifics. Hardlike has a video on it, and you're right, I don't have specifics off the top of my head, right? But I think he does go over the specific cards. So I would say take a look at his video on that. But yeah, I don't have the answer for you on that. But when I was watching the video, I could tell you when I was watching his video talking about it, I was like, okay, sure, that makes a little bit of sense, right? When he was talking about those cards in particular. But they're not played that much, so they're not fresh in my head, unfortunately. I hate the term minigame. Did you draw the out to my board? For some reason, is not considered a minigame. Because drawing the out is not... Because Maxx C is more definitive. But drawing the out, there are so many cards that are outs to, like, any deck. Whereas with Maxx C, it's like the out is Ash Blossom or Called By. And if it's Called By, it has to be your turn, you know? So it's not like the number of outs to Maxx C are very limited. And because they're very limited, you have to play them. Because it's, well, because Maxx C is so powerful, you have to play them. But you're going to play all of them. And they're going to take a huge chunk of your deck. But yeah. Those are my thoughts on... we went off on a bit of a tangent. That's my thoughts on Maxx C, but that's also my thoughts on the ban list. Like and subscribe if you want more of this type of content, and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about these ban lists. Do you guys want to see more of these type of ban lists, these sort of mini ban list updates? I for sure do, but it is a little funny. It's not... obviously, it's not anything anyone expected. So, yeah, see you guys on the next one.